Geminis always need two mics. When you said my new friend, I got so excited I forgot to come on. So, I was hanging out backstage and Jim Shannon walked in right after my dad texted me from Vegas and said, Jim Shannon's there. He was at the remote viewing conference. You should really connect with him and tell him I said hi. So Jim Shannon comes in and then I was like, hey, my dad just texted and he said to say hi. And we started talking and he says, yeah, how you feeling? I said, I don't know how to answer that question. I feel like a balloon in outer space doing nothing until somebody comes along and blows on me. And then I can move for galaxies, But until then, I'm just here. And then I thought, wow, so what are you going to talk about? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, me neither. And he goes, well, you've still got a few minutes. I said, whatever. And he said, yesterday I heard you play, and it sounded like 4 guitars. And I was like, ding, thanks, get out of here right now. And so I started thinking about my guitar. And I started playing guitar back when I was 10. I'm 34 now. And I started with this traditional style called Hawaiian slack key guitar. And in Hawaiian slack key guitar, this is an indigenous art form to Hawaii, and what we do is we create music on a single instrument that might otherwise be created with more than one instrument. The Hawaiians created this many years ago before a lot of guitars and ukuleles arrived to Hawaii, so they had to be very creative to pull sound out of the guitar. And my journey started back with some of the great masters. And after I learned from them, I got my first gig, and it was at the Pier Bar on Oahu. And remember, I'd play Thursday nights at the Pier Bar. And after me, Uncle Willie K, who's from Maui, and who's still one of my heroes in music, would get up and play. And Uncle Willie had a band, and he is awesome, and he sounded so huge, and I thought to myself, I want to sound big. And he was big, too. I was small. And so I thought, how can I sound big? I can't afford a band, and I don't have one, so I gotta try to do more with just what I have. So I started playing with the guitar. And the first thing I did was tune it. I slacked it, because I noticed that a lot of guitar players had to hold chords to do anything. And I was like, I'd see one guy holding a chord and another guy playing a lead. I'm like, wait. That takes 2 people? I don't want to pay anybody else to do that. I'm going to figure out how to do it myself. So I slacked the guitar, and all of a sudden it was tuned to a chord. So now the guitar was doing half my job, and of course I didn't need to pay it. And so then I figured out how to do a melody. And then I did the rhythm, the bass, and the melody all at the same time. So that was cool, and so I'm over there, and then Uncle Willie comes on, he's like, oh, and huge and everything. I'm like, oh, man. This is not big enough. Reminds me of that Randy Newman song, Short People Got. No? Oh, copyright issues. Okay. So, anyway, I went back to the drawing board, and I was looking out at the audience. It's so funny the lights are on. I've been in this Castle Theater 100 times, and I've never seen an audience here. I mean, they've been here, but hi. You're so pretty. So anyway, so you guys are just sitting there, and I'm like, what kind of deal am I getting here? You guys are sitting here, I'm doing all the work. So I decided in that moment that I would put my audience to work. But I didn't tell my audience, you see, because nobody wants to work. So I put my audience to work by realizing that most people aren't really present. I hear a cell phone. Hello? Hey, what's up? Oh no, I can't talk right now. Yeah, I'm at TED and Makana is giving this talk. Dude, he's so awesome. All right. I gotta go. Bye. So most people aren't really present. And because they're not present, I can play with them. So what I'd do is I'd get something going, and I'd kind of move around and stuff, and then I'd stop it, but I'd keep moving, and people thought, wow, it's still there. Cool. And I'd go off and do something else, go to the bathroom, come back, and they were like, yeah. And I learned this because my friend John Cruz used to play at the club, and this guy's a master of clubs, and he'd be in the club, and he'd be like jamming and stuff, and all of a sudden there was no music. There was no music, but everybody was grooving. So I thought, what is music if I don't hear any sound coming out? And then I realized that music is something that happens inside of us. And that's why I don't really have an expensive guitar, because I never cared about the guitar. All I care about is what happens inside of you. And so I started to use the listener's mind as my second instrument. And all of a sudden, people were like, wow, you sound like 2 or 3 or 4 people. What's going on? And I was like, I don't know. And then small man syndrome came back, and I was like, I gotta be bigger. So then I took this thing here, and if you notice, there are 2 holes on my guitar. And one is the pickup that amplifies the guitar so you can hear it. And the other one is a new pickup that I put in. And what I did was, usually you see these little things here, which are pickups that amplify the strings from the sound hole, aiming perpendicular so they pick up all 6 strings. Well, instead what I did was I turned it parallel to the bass strings. And then I ran it through a separate system, EQ'd it, and this is what it sounds like. Really big. So, as I got bigger and bigger, I started to want to do bigger things, and so I started to look at each string as an instrument. I didn't only have one instrument with 6 strings, I had 6 instruments here. And each person here could do its own thing. And it was kind of like this micro-macro relationship going on. And so I'm going to show you now what it all sounds like. But because the lights are on, and like my dad said, when you take a test, son, never look at the other kids, because they're probably confused, and you're going to pick up on that confused energy. And no, I never cheat on a test. Tie it tight now. Mahalo nui. Everyone here has been sharing amazing ideas and these new ways of seeing and thinking. I don't have any of that to tell you. I have only an old idea to tell you. And it's about God. See, I feel bad for God. She keeps trying to kiss you with what's in this moment, but what's in your mind is so old and stinky. Here, I'm going to give you a mind mint. Take one, for God's sake. And the mind mint is this. When you realize that you are standing at the gates of heaven and that you are the one preventing yourself from entering, that is when your journey into perfect health begins. Look at what you've become. That thing you're always running from. On the skirts of what is real. Enchanted by the sound of an ideal. The perfect picture was only in your mind. You left the actual behind. All that you want, all that you want, doesn't compare to all that you are. That you are. What you are is all you need. Tune into you. Tune into you time and time again. Turn off your mind and tune into your breathing. Tune into you. Tune into you.
you.